Welcome, everyone. So invite yourself to sink deeper and deeper into being, into presence, into not knowing. Inviting the universe to its complete freedom and its expression, sensations within the body. In this moment, fresh, new moment, not in time. No stories. This causeless stillness, silence, which effortlessly perceives its own creation as it creates, perceives. Allow yourself to be without any definition. To recognize yourself beyond the mind. This mysterious awareness. Playing the human game. Creating infinite minds. The impression of time. Memory. The current image dissolving as it appears. Somehow we hold on to the past, a me story, narratives, and yet, moment by moment, creation and dissolution meet each other. Nothing phenomenal remains, only awareness. Always is. Your most cherished image or sensation or story. Where is it right now? You have to go looking for it. Where? Where do you go? Are you going anywhere? Do you ever go anywhere? Do we need to define ourselves via the past, via memories, via thoughts? What am I without the past? What is the past in this moment? Where is it? What are we holding on to? In this instant, what is time? Thoughts and sensations. To be completely not knowing. Such a freshness, such freedom. What is your passion? There is a Zen koan which says, what is your face? What does your face look like before you were born? Are we born? That which knows birth and death is birthless and deathless. Clouds of various shapes appear in the wide open sky. They're blown by the wind, changing shape. One minute it's a butterfly, next minute a turtle. Infinite creativity. Can we be freshly created moment by moment? A fresh appearance, which you cannot hold on to because it's no longer there. What remains? Look how the river flows effortlessly, without a past or a future. And yet it plays the game of being a river. It's God's game, the game of being somebody. recognizing that somebody is nobody. God's dream, dreaming everybody and everything, moment by moment, freshly. The impression of time refers to the eternity of consciousness, the timelessness of being, of reality. The non-movement, the source of all movement. Yet nothing is moving. It's just the impression of time, impression of movement. Nothing can be at two different places at the same time. The appearance of something and poof, its disappearance is instantaneous. It seems that that thing, that appearance is continuing to be, but it is no longer. Only the light of awareness is manifesting as another form or not, or not. Manifesting as a butterfly, going from flower to flower. Where is the butterfly? What is it? Mind appears in awareness. It's reality. It's fuel. It's essence. You are the wind, the cloud, the wide open sky, the fragrance of a rose. unfolding moment by moment in this borderless vastness, this formless reality which bypasses the mind. So, if you have any questions, anything that you would like to explore, please make sure to unmute yourself, raise your hand, and welcome to turn on your videos. So, any questions? Hello, Marina.
Hello, Magdi. Nice to meet you.
Oh, let me see. Maybe you are muted.
No.
Yeah.
Can you
Try
hear
again.
me?
I can't
I
hear you.
can I can hear Marina.
Mm.
Hi.
You're
Hi,
good.
Olga.
Oops. What am I missing?
Okay. I'm.
Marina, he doesn't hear you yet.
No?
No, he cannot hear you yet.
Okay. I think.
Why?
Okay, now I hear you.
Okay. Hi, Magdi.
Yeah.
Okay. Since you asked for questions, I have many, many. But in this period, I'm reading a very interesting book from Robert Adams, The Silence of the Heart. And I find it fascinating because he explores consciousness and everything in in his own way, let's say. And I'm stuck again on this concept that the world, the outside reality, is a projection of the mind.
Mm.
I I'm becoming more and more familiar with the fact of the ego being for sure a projection of the mind, because there is no ego, it's just a mind construct.
I'm going to interrupt you
Yes,
before
please.
we go any further. Um, okay, first, I never share that the ego or the world is a projection of the mind. Okay, so that's not my lingo.
Okay.
Since you're asking me, I will try to clarify uh, the terms that I use. First, it is important to understand that there is no such a thing as a mind. Okay, so let me clarify that.
Yeah, please.
What is the meaning of mind? When we say mind, what are we referring to? Well, mind is a concept. Now, for example, a mountain, that's a concept, but it refers to an experience. It refers to rocks and trees, and a table is a concept, but it refers to an object with 4 legs or 6 legs, and so it refers to an experience. Mind is a concept, but what does it refer to? So it doesn't refer to a table, doesn't refer to a mountain. What does it refer to? So just to clarify that, most commonly we refer to mind as thoughts, memories, mind activities. We refer to that as mind. So there isn't a mind, but
An object. You mean an object called mind?
a thing, a reality called mind.
Okay. Okay.
Reality called mind. So mind is a concept used to refer to thinking, but I also use the term mind in a broader sense to refer not only to mind activities, meaning thoughts, perceptions, and so on, but also to refer to perceptions, sensory perceptions, worldly perceptions, and bodily sensations. So I refer to mind as, for example, the experience of hunger, or a perception of a mountain, a perceptual field via the senses, referred to as mind. So mind is a concept that is used to refer to phenomenal activities, thoughts, perceptions, and sensations. So the mind doesn't create the world or doesn't create a mountain, doesn't create anything, the mind refers to the field of perceptions, thoughts. A thought doesn't create anything. A thought appears. It's a subtle object which we perceive. Like today is Sunday. That's a thought. It doesn't create anything. It just appears. And
He doesn't say that mind creates. He says it's a projection of the mind.
right, okay, yeah, projection of the mind.
Yeah.
What is the mind? The mind doesn't project anything. The mind refers to something perceived. Something perceived doesn't project anything. You perceive a mountain. Does the mountain project anything? No. Mountain is perceived, right? So from the definitions that I just presented to you about mind, it is the realm of perception. There is the perceiving aspect, consciousness, the reality which perceives, and there is that which is perceived, perceptions. Right now, you're perceiving this perception.
Yeah.
There are certain sensations. You're perceiving the sensation of your feet on the ground or your back against the chair. That which you perceive is referred to as mind.
Mm.
The sensation of your back against the chair doesn't project anything. It's just perceived. So I just wanted to clarify the language because there is a mistaken understanding that there is a mind that projects the world or anything like that. I have never experienced a mind projecting. I've never.
Well, in psychology is a phenomena. There is a phenomena of projection on feelings. You say something about someone, and in fact you are um, you are the person who is feeling, I don't know, anxious, and you project this anxiety in the external, and you perceive people anxious, or you blame someone for being anxious. But this is a
Yeah.
psychological term of mind,
Yes.
mind projection.
In our experience, again, I'm not going to talk about mind projecting anything, but in our experience, there is a belief that there is a separate entity. There is the belief that I, meaning awareness, consciousness, the reality which perceives right now, is a personal mind or a personal being or a personal consciousness, personal and limited, and
Yes, exactly.
dependent on the body mind. And as a result of this belief, which is not investigated, this belief alters or affects or infects our perception. So we perceive separate others. We perceive a personal will and a personal doer, and we perceive somebody else's other will and another doer independent of our personal will and our personal doership. Now, so as a result of that, in relationships, we perceive an external reality to our reality. And that personal reality is just a projection, meaning it is a belief that has not been investigated. That's what I mean by, in this case, using the term projection. So I project, first of all, that there is a personal reality. And this projection is just a belief that has not been investigated. And then, of course, I project a separate reality, a separate consciousness, the other's consciousness. And this projection is just a belief that has not been investigated.
So, yeah, it all makes sense. Because you see, Magdi, many times we can talk about this endlessly, but this fact of the world is a projection, it doesn't exist, is a construct of the mind. It's very uh, it's very consistent.
And the world exists. We perceive mountains, we perceive rivers, we perceive clouds. It exists, but the reality of the world is not the world. The mind exists, meaning thoughts exists, memories exist, creative thinking exists. But the reality of thoughts is not the thought. The reality of the world is consciousness. The reality of thoughts, memories, images is consciousness.
Yeah, I understand the reality of thoughts and perception is consciousness. I don't see how the world is consciousness.
Well, let me see. Let's say that you are sleeping at night and you're dreaming of a volcano, right? You wake up and you realize, oh, no, there was no volcano separate from me, the dreamer, right? So the volcano, the reality of the volcano was you, you who were dreaming the volcano. Do you understand that metaphor?
Yes,
Okay. So
I am dreaming of a volcano. The volcano doesn't exist in
on
reality, but
doesn't,
only in my,
right, it doesn't exist on its own. It doesn't have a personal reality or independent reality from you, the dreamer.
yes.
So the world appears and exists, but its reality is consciousness. Just using that metaphor. In your night dream, let's say that you're dreaming of a volcano and then the volcano disappears. Now you're dreaming of a butterfly, right?
Mhm.
The volcano is no longer there, but you are still there. Now you're dreaming a butterfly, or you're not dreaming anything. You woke up, right? So similarly, the world appears, and its reality is consciousness, which is perceiving it, dreaming it, and perceiving it, creating it and perceiving it simultaneously. But it doesn't. The reality of consciousness doesn't need the mountain, doesn't depend on the mountain. It can dream a butterfly.
Mm. Universal consciousness, God. In this case, is God dreaming of this outer reality?
Yeah, you can use the term God or consciousness or Brahman, but if you go to your experience right now, instead of going to God, or just go to your experience right now, you're perceiving a perception, right?
Yeah.
And then there is you, which is perceiving. That which is perceiving has no name, is not a female perception or a female perceiver or a male perceiver. It's just,
Yes.
yes, you understand that, right?
Yes.
So right now in your experience, there is the perceiving aspect, meaning
Yes.
that which perceives, the reality which perceives.
Yes.
You can call it God, but you don't need to call it anything, right?
Yeah.
It is, and it knows that it is. I know, I perceive, I am, meaning it is, I am, and I know that I am.
Mm.
I perceive, and I know that I perceive. And you don't need to call I God or Brahman or consciousness. I mean, yeah, we do. I mean, I do all the time. I refer to I as consciousness, as awareness, as this knowing aspect, as the awareness aspect, as the reality aspect. But these are just uh, words used to point to your experience right now of this transparent awareness.
Yes, I understand. Right now, I have my computer in front of me. I perceive my computer.
But it's not in front of you. It's, yeah, in a way, in a relative sense, it's in front of you, but you're not perceiving the computer in front of you. You're perceiving your perception, right?
This is so complicated.
Well, are you perceiving your perception or not?
Yes, I
Are
am.
you perceiving somebody else's perception? Are you perceiving?
No,
No, you're perceiving your perception, right?
yes,
It's not complicated. It's simple. I'm perceiving my perception.
yes.
Now, where is my perception? How far is my perception from me?
Is
Five,
he?
5 inches, 3 inches, 2 centimeters.
No, there is no distance.
Okay, so what's complicated about that?
Is the computer?
You can
What
call, you can
I
call, you can call it computer, but you're not just perceiving the computer. You're perceiving a perception. You're perceiving computer. You're perceiving the wall. You're perceiving a perception, which you are calling the computer. It's not like you're taking a scissor and you're cutting out of your perception a computer. Wait a minute. Okay, boom, here's the computer. No, you're perceiving your perception. It's okay to call it a computer, but you're perceiving your perception. Okay, you get that?
yes, yes,
Your perception is at zero distance from you. It's right. And we call it the computer. We say, okay, the computer is uh, 40 centimeters away from my nose. You can measure, okay, 40 centimeters.
mm,
But although the computer is 40 centimeters from your nose, you're perceiving your perception at zero distance.
yes. I understand that. I think I understand it well. But my question still is, what about the computer? What is a computer? I mean, I can touch it. Is something, it seems to be real. There is
When you
form, there is mass, there are,
when you touch the computer,
yes,
you you perceive. What do you perceive? You perceive a sensation.
yes,
So then you say, well, this sensation is a computer, right?
yes,
But in fact, you're perceiving a sensation.
yes.
So the
I perceive that there is something hard in my hands,
sensation,
warm, whatever.
you can call
Yes,
it hard, soft, whatever. It's still a
whatever.
sensation.
Yes,
A sensation. Before you label the sensation hard, soft, whatever, you're perceiving a sensation.
yes,
And this sensation, and you're also perceiving a perception. You're perceiving,
yes,
I don't know, you're perceiving a screen, you're perceiving. So you're perceiving a perception and you're perceiving a sensation. And we refer to that as a computer.
yes,
And
yes,
you perceive memories of yourself. You perceive memories when you were 15-year-old. You perceive memories of your house when you were a young girl. You perceive your family. You perceive perceptions and you perceive sensations, memories. And you say, well, that's me. That's Marina. It's in the same way you're perceiving a sensation and you're perceiving your perception, you're saying it's a computer. And I'm not opposed to that. It's okay to form concepts about things. But the thing that you need to understand is that in your experience right now, when you're touching the computer, you're not touching the computer, you're experiencing the sensation. When you're
Yeah,
perceiving.
but that set of sensations leads to giving a name to
Sure.
those sensations.
Of course,
So
we need.
if I never had the chance to perceive something like a computer, it virtually it wouldn't exist in my
Right. You wouldn't know what it is, right? But the thing is, like, you experience certain sensations and perceptions, and you call them a computer, and yes, but the name is not the thing. The name computer is not the computer, right? The name is helpful, is useful, and we are learning about AI now. There's going to be new things that we're going to be naming and labeling. But the map is not the thing.
right.
The thing is consciousness. The label computer or the concept mountain or the concept universe or the concept galaxies are useful concepts. But the reality of the concept is consciousness. The name is not the thing. The map is not the territory. We are looking here, we're investigating the territory, we're investigating the reality. We're not investigating the mind. In the mind, there are infinite labels, infinite stories, infinite, ways of slicing the lemon. You can slice the lemon in many different angles, in many different ways. You can have many different labels, many different names, many different concepts. But what is the reality
Mm.
of a concept? A concept is useful. For example, red light, stopping at a red light when you're driving on the right side of the road, that's a concept. The right and the left, these are useful concepts, inside and outside. The table or the roses are outside the house. This is the map. This is the language, the useful, helpful language. But we should not confuse mind, meaning that which is perceived, with the reality which perceives. We are investigating the reality of all perceptions.
Mm.
The reality of perceptions is consciousness. They do exist. The world exists. Thoughts exist. Bodies exist. Their reality is consciousness. You can remove a body out of consciousness, like in your deep sleep, the body dissolves.
Yeah, in fact, I'm wondering from a blind person point of view, or I don't know, whatever sense perception can be out of order, can be, I don't know, someone who doesn't see or for whatever reason cannot touch anything. He is consciousness, but probably the consciousness of such a person has another labeling,
Well,
and probably the reality I perceive.
hold on. Let's slow down a little bit. Okay, slow down. A blind body, blind person, does not mean a blind consciousness.
Right.
It means that the instrument, the body-mind instrument, the biocomputer, has a defective video card. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't mean that there is a defective consciousness.
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that the consciousness that perceives the moment is probably has a different I
Yeah,
I have difficulties to
yeah.
explain
I know.
myself.
Let me see if I can, see if I understood you. Now, via this particular body mind, via this particular blind instrument, consciousness does not see the mountain.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
It's fully present, is fully aware, but it doesn't perceive mountains.
Consciousness doesn't need to perceive a mountain. It's just complete freedom. Via certain body minds, it perceives beautiful, artistic. Via some body minds, it perceives. It has like musical. Some people have some body mind instruments have very musical, auditory sense and appreciation of music. Right. All body mind instruments are very particular, right? But that has nothing to do with consciousness. Consciousness isn't affected. But
Yeah.
yes, via a certain body mind, it creates great music, great art. Via certain body minds, it creates great scientific. Uh,
I totally agree. I was not going to disagree with it. It was just an elaboration on consciousness on a blind person can have a different taste than my awareness of a mountain, because a blind person has consciousness of, I don't know, I mean, it's not a shared a shared picture. And this can be also interesting because for that particular person, you I don't want to go to down to the rabbit hole, but the shared world we all share is not the same from a blind person awareness.
yeah, I mean, we, every one of us um, perceives from a different direction, from a different angle. We perceive the world, we perceive the mind, and we perceive the body from our own particular vantage point.
Yeah,
There is a shared aspect. It's like, for example, people who live in this town here, 100,000 people, they know that they live in Temecula. There's a shared mind, let's say, a shared aspect, a shared understanding. And there
yeah,
is also something that is not shared. For example, the 100,000 people who live in Temecula here, they don't have access to my thoughts. They don't have access to my living room. They don't have
right.
they don't have access to the sensations within my body. So yes, in the human experience, there is the shared aspect of the mind.
Yeah,
There is the non-shared or the less shared aspect of the mind. By mind, I mean that which we experience. There are certain things which we share, like we all know what a rose is. When I say a red rose, all of us here sort of understand what a red rose is. But when I, for example, share, I have a sensation in my chest. Uh, okay, we sort of understand, that okay, Magdi has a sensation in his chest, but we don't we don't have the same access to that sensation.
right.
Anyways, yes, you are right. I mean, in that from the various body minds, the same consciousness is experiencing or
Yes,
creating and
yes,
perceiving.
yes. But it doesn't mean that a blind person is less conscious than whoever else. I mean, he is conscious, he's aware, 100% fully aware,
It is,
not of that object.
it is, it
Or
is,
maybe he's conscious in another way. I don't know. It
it
was
is,
just,
there is no conscious person. It is consciousness, which is
yes,
100%
yes, yeah,
conscious. It is awareness, which is 100% awareness, 100% awareness.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was. very, I thank you, Magdi.
Okay, Marina. Nice.
Thank you.
Sure. Any questions? Hi, Rokus. Let's see, you need to unmute yourself, right?
Yes. Now, do you hear me?
Yes.
I have a question about identification or absorption. It is seen as the root of ignorance. But if I'm writing or composing or playing piano, I can totally be absorbed by it. But I can't experience that as being totally ignorant. I can do it consciously. That's very interesting for me to try to do that. But if I'm total in absorption, it's feeling okay for me too. How do you see this?
Yeah, when you are playing the piano or creating, being creative in whatever you do, what can interfere with your creativity and with the harmonious creativity is if you're identifying yourself as somebody special, for example, you know, the, then you are trying to prove to yourself and to prove to the world that you are somebody special, and that interferes with the free flow, because now you're trying to maneuver your creativity in order to appear, you know, impressive, you say. So when we are absorbed in a certain activity, and the sense of personal doer or a personal achiever, when that is not on board, then there is a flow, sort of a universal flow of creativity within your body mind. Identification is basically sort of adding on. It's an add-on that, and it's unnecessary. It's not a necessary add-on, but it's an add-on to the universal flow, adding a personal doer, a personal achiever, or a separate entity. So as a result of that, the energy is channeled through a funnel. It's no longer free flowing. It's
No.
through the me, the personal.
Yes.
In everything that you do, everything is impersonal. There is nothing personal. gravity, the wind, breathing, thoughts that appear to you, actions that you take as a result of thoughts that appear to you. All of that is universal. There isn't a personal doer, right?
Yes, I see that. This is clarifying, but I had not a clear view on this. So this is more clarifying.
I mean, the creative energy comes.
Yes, that's my experience, and that's that's freedom. I experience this as freedom. But there is something in my memory about what always has been said in spirituality. You don't it's not allowed to be absorbed. There's a hidden idea in me, and this disappears if I see this is just being seen by consciousness. This is just a manifestation of it, and then it disappears.
I mean,
But
we are always absorbed.
yeah,
We're always completely absorbed because there's no separation. So to be fully absorbed, completely absorbed, you're one with the universe. The universe is expressing itself in full intimacy with the particular body mind named Rokus, you see. So
yeah,
I would say it's the other way around. Instead of not being fully absorbed, I would say it's about being fully absorbed. And the way to be fully absorbed is to realize, to come to an understanding that your whole belief about being a separate entity is rubbish. There is no separate locus from the totality, from the creative field, from the energetic field, from the universal field. Locus is just part of all of that, you see. It's a manifestation of all of that. It's completely absorbed in all of that, you see.
yes, thank you. But I have a kind of flashlight relation with this insight. So, but you clarify it better again. Yeah.
Every atom of the body mind named Rokus or named Megdi is a universal atom. I mean, the carbon atoms, in that compose, this body, among other things, are they're part of the cosmic universe, and they're constantly interacting, electrical field and energetic field, and also it's beyond the mind. The mind can only comprehend so little. But when we sort of go beyond the mind to realize, that in fact, as awareness, as consciousness, there is no separation. There is no this side of consciousness and that side of consciousness. No, it's all. And so we invite ourselves, we can invite yourself to this understanding and allow yourself to be guided by this intimate wholeness, this entirety, this totality, this profound mystery, right?
Yes. There is this upcoming distrust, and then at the same time it's dissolving. And will this distrust ever disappear?
Mm. I like to trust that which is completely certain. I don't like to trust things that I'm not so sure about, because I'm not sure about it. My thoughts, they come, they change. The body is changing. I can't trust it. but I perceive, I could be having a dream right now. The only thing that is absolute that I can trust is the reality. There is something rather than nothing. There is something rather than nothing. That something perceives, is aware. I am. I know that I am. I'm aware. I know that I'm aware.
Yeah.
The name of the body is Magdi. Okay, it could be Rokus, it could be John. It could, but it's a name. The name of the body. There is a male body. There are female bodies. There are flowers. There are mountains. The only thing that I can be like completely certain of is that which doesn't change. The mountains change. The bodies change. Thoughts constantly changing. What I read a year ago, I understood, and now I read it again. I understand it in a different way.
Yeah.
You know, the only thing that I can trust is that which doesn't change. And when I take a look at that, I find it's only one candidate, which has no name. No, it's not a male thing or a female thing or big or small or rich or poor, or which is this transparent awareness. It's beyond the mind, beyond something you perceive, because that which perceives is not perceived right now. You perceive, but that which perceives is not perceived. And we're used to give reality or attribute reality to that which is perceived. And we overlook the reality of that which perceives consciousness.
Yeah.
And we know experientially that everything we perceive, our thoughts, our memories, our body, like, where is the Magdi when 12-year-old Magdi body? You know, it's everything you perceive, it changes, you know. So I can only rely, as you say, about like trusting, only to trust that which you're completely certain about.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that helps me in some way. Okay. Yeah. I know this, of course, conceptually and experiential, but it, in some way or other, it needs to be convinced or deepened.
It's okay. We
Yeah.
slowly we're
Yeah.
investigating, we're contemplating, we're exploring, we're understanding, and you know, it's there's a process of inquiry and of contemplation, and that's good direction.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Rokas, good to see you. Any questions?
Thank you.
Hi, Magdi.
Hello, Philomene.
Hi. I asked myself, can we say then that the eyes and the ears and the mouth and so on are the instruments of consciousness
Yeah,
experience?
you could say that the body mind, the biocomputer, the human organism is a tool or an instrument via which consciousness perceives the world, perceives thoughts, perceives bodily sensation, and also it contemplates itself. It uses somehow the body-mind instrument with its capacity to contemplate, to introspect, to reason, to use logical argumentation, to contemplate the mystery. Because this human experience, we perceive, via the body-mind instrument, is consciousness which is playing this game of creating the impression over time, not as a baby, but over a few years, there is a sense of me. That baby is born without a sense of me, but over the few years, they develop a sense of me. So it's all the game of consciousness. And then there is the sense of me, which, grows and develops a sense of self, a sense of personality and thoughts and belief systems and structure. And at some point, we become seekers. We're seeking happiness. We're seeking something, but we understand it's happiness we're seeking through possessions, through relationships, through mind experiences. In time, consciousness then shifts the attention from seeking happiness externally to understanding, to turning your attention towards the understanding about the source, about the reality, about consciousness itself. Anyways, I'm going on a tangent. Yes, the body-mind is an instrument, a tool via which the consciousness perceives the world, the mind and bodies. But don't keep in mind that also the world which we perceive, thoughts which we perceive, and sensations which we perceive, also all of these are the creation of consciousness. In other words, consciousness creates the stage, creates the players, the actors on the stage, creates the script for every actor on the stage, and consciousness is sitting in the lounge watching the show, creating it and watching it simultaneously.
And gives a discernment from everything.
I'm sorry?
And giving the discernment from everything, between everything.
The discernment, you said.
Discernment, yeah.
Can you say some more?
The differences, the difference from everything.
Well, there are differences in two ways. There are phenomenal differences, meaning a table is not a mountain, a river is not a lake, a cloud is not an automobile. So there are differences in the realm of phenomena, which of course is very helpful for the human organism to get clear about these differences in order to be able to navigate the waking dream, harmoniously. But there is another important difference, more important, in terms of our understanding about non-duality is the difference between the permanent and the impermanent. There is that which is changing. Thoughts, perceptions, sensations, the world, the body, the mind are changing. And there is a changeless aspect of our experience right now is awareness, that which perceives. The bodies are changing, the mind thoughts are changing, the body ages, etc. But awareness does not age. So yes, there are these two important.
Yeah, I understand. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Nice to see you, Philomene. Hi, Joy.
Hello. I'd like to ask that if we can only trust what is permanent, which being consciousness, then what tools does our body mind have to make decisions in this plane or in this dream?
Good question. Our body mind has consciousness as the tool.
But that's just what's permanent, and everything here is changing.
Yeah, but the reality of that which is changing is consciousness. In other words, the thoughts. Let's say you have a thought, okay, today I'm going to go, swim in the river, right? This thought appears to you from consciousness. And when you are walking down to the river and you hear a little sound, like a hissing sound, on the path that catches your attention. That's a sound, let's say, for example, of a snake. And then you stop that the snake, that which appears on your path. What is the snake? What is the reality of the snake? And the hissing of the snake, of course, is coming from the snake. What's making the snake hiss? Is it the snake that's deciding, oh, I'm going to hiss now in order to make sure that joy doesn't get close to me? What is it that is activating this body mind and talking right now? There is this body mind named Megdi that is talking. What is activating this body mind to talk? Is like the body mind self-activated? These are interesting questions. And from the perspective of AI, yes, body minds are AIs, and they're self-activated. They're activated by a program which has been deeply embedded in the cells, and it's self-activated. Then the question arises, well, okay, I mean, where did this program come from? Well, we could say, well, this program came from a higher intelligence, which is much more intelligent than the best AI system we have right now. Well, the question continues. Well, what fueled, what created that higher intelligence that created this fantastic AI, which is right now activating the body-mind organism named Megdi. So if you carry this question, the buck has to stop somewhere. And where does the buck stop? The buck stops at reality, at somewhere, that which is and cannot not be. So if you take a look at your experience and ask yourself, what is it in my experience? That which is and cannot not be. Well, you will find that it's not the mountain, it's not the river, it's not the body-mind named joy, it's not your thoughts. What is it? So, yes, your question is a very good question. So, what is it that in this waking dream, what is it that is operating this waking dream and making phenomena and decisions and life, go on? I'll give you another metaphor, Joy. The metaphor of the dream. It's a very powerful metaphor. Now, imagine that you are dreaming a dream where there are 7 billion people in your dream and are engaged in various activities. Every person is having a certain experience, and every person is having a certain conversation. Every person is having certain thoughts, and every person is having certain problems, etc. And every person feels that, okay, they're independent. They're independent of each other. They're separate entities, and every person is having their own personal life and own personal family, you name it. It's true in the dream, from the perspective inside the dream. Yes, it's true that, Joe is not Bill and Mary is not Josephine, etc. From the perspective of these 7 billion people, their own minds are separate from each other. But you, the dreamer, you are creating all of that. You are the perceiver in chief. You're the creator in chief. The thoughts of every person and the experience that every person is having in your dream is created by you and known by you. You are dreaming all of that. You are the reality that of all of that, of the entire rodeo. Right? I mean, in our habitual way of thinking, there is a personal doer, a personal will, but there is no evidence for that. Although most 8 billion of people on this planet believe in a personal doer and a personal will, does not mean that this is true, just because there is a mass belief structure. Thoughts appear to you. You don't choose your thoughts. You did not even choose to ask the question that you asked. It sort of came to you, and it was occupied. It became more and more interesting to you, and you thought of sharing this question. You did not even think the thought or choose the thought of sharing this question. That thought appeared to you. Oh yeah, I want to share this question. And so you shared your question. You follow what I'm saying?
I do. And I guess what I'm understanding is that the tools that we would use in this waking dream to make decisions are really the tools of the senses that consciousness perceives.
Yeah, I mean, there is the body mind with its senses. So the body mind senses, for example, hunger. I mean, let's put it another way. It is consciousness that perceives a certain sensation within the body mind, which we recognize as hunger. Right? I mean, that which perceives is always the same perceiver, I. So consciousness perceives via the senses hunger, or perceives sensation of heat and turns on the fan. Perceives the thought, gee, it would be really nice to invite some friends and have a cup of tea together. And so we may or may not make some phone calls and invite friends over. So yeah, there is the body-mind instrument with the senses and the thoughts that appear from consciousness, and the decision, the decision, yes, I am going to, invite people over to have tea with me this afternoon. That decisive thought, the yes thought, appears to you. It says yes, and so then you as consciousness make the phone call, using the body mind. So I think what we're basically exploring here is that yes, there is a body-mind instrument, there is a world, there there is the weather, there are people in our waking dream, and there is I, consciousness. There is an intimate relationship. It's not like the consciousness is separate from its dream. No. When you're dreaming a night dream, it's you're there everywhere. You are in the dream everywhere. You are every person's mind, every person's experience, using the night dream metaphor. I mean, similarly, in the waking dream, you are everywhere, as consciousness, uh, playing the game, creating and perceiving and exploring. And the game that I like, that I found very significant in my life, the game that I found very significant in my life has been when when consciousness exposed itself to me. It was like, what? Because until a certain age, I was living in my bubble, my mind, my family, my work, my university, my bubble. And then at some point, there was a crack in the bubble, like a small sort of a glimpse into something else, not within my bubble, something beyond my mind. And that was really a game changer in a way. And actually, these meetings here are a result of the glimpse into consciousness. So, I mean, these sort of meetings are very rare, where people getting together, a few people getting together to explore reality, not in order to write a scientific paper and get published and become, the new philosopher of the century, but because of the profound interest in truth, and as a result of having a glimpse into truth, into the reality of consciousness. So coming back to your question, that yes, there is the phenomenal realm, but there is also, throughout every aspect of the phenomenal realm, there is consciousness, the noumenal I, what you refer to as I. Because when you refer to yourself as I, you don't say I joy. First you say I, and then you add, well, joy, the daughter, the sister, whatever, But always when we say I, there is the first the first spark of I is consciousness, and then we add on, I the great this or the bad that, or I the depressed this, or whatever. We add on a narrative, and the spark is not a narrative. It's just awareness right now in this moment. It's not in time. There is no history to awareness. There is history to the body mind. There is history to the world. There is history to Costa Rica. There is history, but there is no history to awareness.
Yeah.
And one last thing, like the more our understanding about reality, about truth, about consciousness, about oneness, about wholeness, about freedom, about love, because it's deepens, the more it becomes our guiding, our decisions, our thoughts become guided and illuminated, let's say, illuminated or inspired by love, by truth, by sincerity, by freedom, by compassion, by harmony. Rather than by the me bubble.
Yeah.
In the me bubble, there is isolation and fear and worry and whatever, we all know about that.
Thank you.
Okay, Joy, lovely to see you. Any questions? Okay. Thank you all. Very lovely to be with you. Thank you for your presence and your questions and your love.
Thank you very much, Magdi. Thank you.
See you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Magdi.